The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the golden fields, painting the weathered planks of the farmhouse a warm, honeyed hue, dust motes dancing in the light as an old Chevrolet truck rumbled to a stop. From the passenger seat emerged Margaret, a young woman of 24, her hands clasped tightly around a worn leather suitcase, a silent testament to a life packed into too few belongings. Her long blonde hair, braided simply, framed a face that held both apprehension and a quiet resilience. The floral dress she wore, though carefully mended, spoke of years of wear, a reflection of a life where beauty was often overshadowed by practicality. Margaret carried herself with a hesitant grace, her figure fuller than the fashion of the time dictated, a fact her family had never allowed her to forget. Even now, the harsh cadence of her father's voice echoed in her mind, a cruel litany delivered that very morning. "Margaret, this arrangement will solve our financial problems and get you settled. Thomas Brennan needs a wife to help with his farm, and frankly, we cannot be choosy about suitors at this point." The words, sharp and unforgiving, had landed like blows, each syllable a calculated measure of her perceived worth. Her parents, burdened by the weight of their struggling general store, had made no secret of their resentment, viewing her as a drain on their resources, an unmarriageable daughter who consumed more than she contributed. When the local bank had threatened foreclosure, her father had seized upon Thomas Brennan's unexpected proposal with a desperate eagerness. "He is just a poor dirt farmer," her mother had declared, her voice laced with disdain. "But he offered to pay off our debts in exchange for your hand. Consider it your contribution to the family after all these years of taking from us." Now, standing beside the truck, Margaret felt like a mere object, a commodity being delivered to fulfill a transaction. Her father, his gaze averted, hastily unloaded her meager possessions. "Thomas should be around somewhere," he muttered, avoiding her eyes. "Remember, Margaret, you are his responsibility now. Do not embarrass our family name." As if summoned by the weight of his words, two figures emerged from behind the farmhouse, their silhouettes etched against the fading sunlight. The first was Thomas Brennan himself, a man in his early 30s, his brown hair neatly combed, his eyes radiating a gentle kindness. He was dressed in simple work clothes, a blue plaid shirt, faded jeans, his sturdy frame hinting at years of honest labor. He moved with the quiet confidence of a man comfortable in his own skin, a man who found solace in the rhythm of the land. Behind him walked an older man, his face etched with the wisdom of time, a full gray beard softening his features. He wore overalls and a cotton shirt, his movements slower, more deliberate, but his presence emanating a similar sense of warmth and unwavering strength. This was Samuel Brennan, Thomas's father, sharing the same honest features, the same gentle demeanor that spoke of a life lived in harmony with nature. "Miss Margaret," Thomas said softly, his voice a calming balm to her frayed nerves, approaching with his hat held respectfully in his hands. "I am Thomas Brennan. This is my father, Samuel Brennan. Welcome to our home." Margaret was immediately struck by his gentle tone, his respectful manner. Unlike the men she had encountered in the past, who had looked at her with thinly veiled disgust or pity, Thomas's gaze held only kindness, genuine welcome. It was a look that saw beyond the surface, that acknowledged her humanity, her inherent worth. "I know this situation is not what you might have chosen for yourself," Thomas continued, choosing his words with care, sensitive to her vulnerability. "But I want you to know that you will be treated with respect and kindness here. This is your home now, for as long as you choose to stay." Margaret's father, eager to finalize the arrangement and escape the burden of his debt, completed the transaction with unseemly haste, barely acknowledging her presence. As the truck disappeared down the dusty road, leaving a trail of swirling dust in its wake, Margaret felt a profound sense of isolation, standing in the farmyard with only a suitcase and her unspoken fears for company. "Come," Thomas said gently, sensing her apprehension. "Let me show you the house. You must be tired and hungry after your journey." As they walked towards the farmhouse, Margaret found herself surprised by what she saw. While the exterior was modest, unassuming, the property stretched far beyond what she had imagined, a tapestry of rolling fields and verdant pastures. Well-maintained fences delineated the boundaries of the land, and in the distance, She could see cattle grazing peacefully, their silhouettes softened by the evening light. The house itself, though simple in design, was spotlessly clean, its windows gleaming in the fading sun. It exuded a sense of quiet dignity, a testament to the care and attention lavished upon it. The kitchen was large and welcoming, the heart of the home, dominated by a massive wood-burning stove, its surface gleaming with years of use. A sturdy oak table, large enough to seat 8 people comfortably, stood in the center of the room, its surface worn smooth by countless meals and shared stories. The air was filled with the comforting aroma of wood smoke and freshly baked bread, a scent that evoked a sense of warmth and belonging. "I know it is not fancy," Thomas said apologetically, his gaze sweeping over the room, "but we have tried to make it comfortable." He led her towards the staircase, his hand gently guiding her way. "Your room is upstairs, the first door on the right. You have complete privacy, and there are locks on all the doors." Margaret was surprised by this unexpected consideration, this respect for her personal space. She had braced herself for a life of servitude, expecting to be treated as little more than unpaid help, her needs and desires disregarded. Samuel Brennan spoke for the first time, his voice warm and grandfatherly, his words imbued with a sincerity that touched her heart. "Margaret, my dear, I want you to know that Thomas is a good man. He will never do anything to make you uncomfortable or afraid. We both hope that in time you might come to think of this place as truly home." That evening, as Margaret sat at the kitchen table, sharing a simple but delicious meal of pot roast and vegetables, she began to realize that her preconceived notions about her new life might be fundamentally flawed. Thomas and his father treated her with a respect she had never experienced, acknowledging her as an individual worthy of consideration and kindness. They asked about her interests, listened intently to her responses, seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts and opinions. It was a stark contrast to the dismissive indifference she had grown accustomed to from her own family. When she mentioned that she enjoyed reading, Thomas's face lit up with pleasure, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We have a fair collection of books in the parlor," he said eagerly. "Please feel free to borrow anything that interests you. I would love to hear your thoughts on them." Over the following weeks, Margaret discovered that life at the Brennan farm was unlike anything she had ever imagined. Thomas rose before dawn each day to tend to his responsibilities, working tirelessly to ensure the smooth operation of the farm. But he always made sure that she had everything she needed, anticipating her needs before she even voiced them. He never made demands on her time or attention, instead giving her the space to explore her new surroundings, to find her place in the household routine at her own pace. Gradually, Margaret began to understand the true scope of the Brennan operation, the intricate workings of this seemingly simple farm. What appeared to be a humble family enterprise was actually a substantial agricultural operation, meticulously managed and highly profitable. Thomas owned thousands of acres of prime farmland, stretching as far as the eye could see, a testament to generations of hard work and careful planning. He ran several hundred head of cattle, his herd renowned for its quality and yield. He had established profitable contracts with buyers in 3 different states, his reputation preceding him as a man of integrity and unwavering commitment. "Why did you never correct my father's assumptions about your financial situation?" Margaret asked one evening as they sat on the front porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. The air was filled with the gentle chirping of crickets, a soothing symphony of nature. Thomas was quiet for a long moment, his hands folded in his lap, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "Your father made it clear that he was looking for a solution to his financial problems, not a husband who would cherish his daughter. I thought if he knew the truth about our holdings, he might have different motivations for the arrangement." "And what were your motivations?" Margaret asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper, her heart pounding in her chest. Thomas turned to look at her, his honest brown eyes meeting hers with unwavering sincerity. "Loneliness, if I am being completely truthful. This farm has been successful, but it has also been empty. When I heard about your situation through mutual acquaintances, I thought perhaps we might be able to help each other." As autumn deepened into winter, painting the landscape in shades of brown and gray, Margaret found herself falling into the rhythms of farm life with surprising contentment. She discovered a talent for managing the household finances, a skill that had been dormant, waiting for an opportunity to blossom. She began helping Thomas with the business correspondence, her meticulous attention to detail and her natural intelligence proving invaluable. Her careful attention to detail and natural intelligence impressed both men, her contributions quickly becoming an integral part of the farm's success. More importantly, she began to feel valued, appreciated for the first time in her life, her inherent worth finally recognized. Thomas consistently sought her opinion on important decisions, treating her as an equal partner in the operation of the farm. Samuel treated her like the daughter he had never had, offering her unconditional love and unwavering support. The transformation was not just emotional, but physical as well, a testament to the healing power of acceptance and love. The regular meals, prepared with fresh, wholesome ingredients, the outdoor work in the crisp, clean air, and the genuine happiness that filled her days began to show in her appearance. She still carried extra weight, but her posture straightened with confidence. Her shoulders no longer slumped under the weight of self-doubt. Her eyes, once clouded with sadness, began to sparkle with life, reflecting the joy that bloomed within her heart. One snowy December evening, as they sat by the fireplace, the crackling flames casting dancing shadows on the walls, reading together in comfortable silence, Thomas set down his book and looked at Margaret with unusual seriousness, his gaze intense and unwavering. "Margaret, I need to say something, and I hope you will not take offense." Margaret felt her heart skip a beat with worry, a sudden wave of apprehension washing over her. Had she done something wrong? Had she somehow failed to meet his expectations? "When this arrangement began, I thought we might develop a partnership of mutual convenience," Thomas continued, choosing his words with deliberate care. "But somewhere along the way, my feelings have changed completely." He paused, gathering his courage, his gaze fixed on her face. "I have come to love you, not as a business partner or household helper, but as the woman I want to spend my life with. You bring joy and intelligence and warmth to everything you touch." Margaret felt tears spring to her eyes, blurring her vision. She had never dared to dream of such happiness, never imagined that she could be loved for who she was, flaws and all. "Thomas, she began, her voice choked with emotion. "You do not need to answer right now," he said quickly, misinterpreting her hesitation. "I just wanted you to know that if you ever choose to make this marriage real in every sense, it would make me the happiest man alive." Margaret looked at this kind, successful, genuine man, who had shown her more respect and affection in 6 months than her own family had in 24 years. She saw in his eyes a depth of love and sincerity that mirrored the feelings in her own heart. "I love you too," she said softly, her voice filled with emotion, the words a long-awaited release. "You have given me something I never thought I would have, a place where I am valued for who I am, not judged for who I am not." The following spring, as the fields bloomed with wildflowers and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blossoms, they held a second wedding ceremony, a celebration of love rather than obligation. This time, the event was filled with joy and laughter, with family and friends who had witnessed their love blossom, who celebrated their union with genuine happiness. Margaret had bloomed into a confident, radiant woman, her inner beauty shining through, illuminating her face with a soft, warm glow. She managed both the household and significant portions of the farm business with skill and intelligence, proving herself to be a capable and indispensable partner. Her family, upon learning of Thomas's true wealth and status in the community, attempted to re-establish contact, their motives transparently self-serving. Margaret politely but firmly declined their overtures, having learned that true family is created through love and respect, not obligation or financial gain. She had found her true family in the embrace of the Brennans, in the unwavering love and support they had offered her. Years later, as Margaret watched their children play in the same farmyard where she had once stood with a suitcase and a broken heart, she reflected on the unexpected turns that life can take, the unpredictable path that had led her to this place of contentment and fulfillment. Thomas had given her far more than financial security or social status. He had given her the gift of seeing herself through loving eyes, of discovering that her worth had never been determined by her appearance or her family's narrow expectations. She had found her home not just in the sprawling acres of the Brennan farm, but in the heart of a man who loved her exactly as she was, imperfections and all. In his embrace, she had finally found the healing she had so desperately craved, the solace she had always sought. The farm, once a symbol of her forced servitude, had become a sanctuary, a place of love, laughter, and belonging. It was here, amidst the rolling fields and under the vast, open sky, that Margaret had finally found her true self, her true home, her true love. And as she watched her children play, their laughter echoing through the air, she knew that she had everything she could ever ask for, a life filled with love, purpose, and unwavering happiness.